Good morning. We're doing chores and a chat today, people. I have thoughts and I have chores. Chores and a chat. Chat and chores. Just gonna rip it out. Where's my spade? So for those of you who don't know, I'm doing a postgrad certificate in garden design. I'm only about 7 weeks in, so don't ask me any questions yet. We did a couple of classes on the history of garden design, and it was kind of interesting to learn how some styles evolved out of what the function of the garden was. Some gardens were really productive, like for growing fruits and vegetables and medicinal plants. Some gardens were meeting places and gathering places, and some gardens were created as spaces where one could contemplate matters of the heart. Now, I'm not going to give you a history lesson, don't worry. But it did get me asking, what's the purpose of my garden space? Like, why do I have it? Why do I value it? I think it's a good thing to try to understand and articulate, because then any decision that I make in order to enhance the space design-wise can work towards that goal. I mean, there's a couple of things that my garden is definitely not. It's not a kitchen garden. It's not a productive garden. Like, produce isn't something that I'm just interested in right now. Maybe later, but not right now. Everything that you see here is decorative and ornamental. Even the nasturtium that I'm trying to grow, even though it's edible and functionally it draws aphids away from other plants, it's mainly here for aesthetic purposes. I just like the look of it. Actually, we do have a mango tree in a part of the garden that we don't hang around much. It produced one mango the entire time we've been here. I ate it, and yes, it did taste like the nectar of the gods. This is also not a garden where I'm going to host a large group of people. I come here to get away from people. Max 2 extra people other than me and Tim, and you definitely need to be invited. Am I going to get this onion weed out? No, I never get the root of the onion weed. Just going to get the rest of these dead leaves here. First and foremost, my garden is my refuge. Like, it's my refuge. I retreated here because my sanity and my creativity were on the line. And a garden space, whether we're talking about the balcony at my old apartment or this one here, it became a sanctuary where I could safeguard both of those things. Several weeks ago, I did a video called How Gardening Changed My Life, where I talked about why gardening means so much to me and the shift from a career in theatre to one in the garden. This video isn't about that, but if you want more context, check it out. But this is more of an extension of that conversation, I would say. Anyway, I was able to boil it down to my garden primarily being 3 things. So firstly, my garden is a resting and recharging space. Every garden, no matter how small, even if your garden is just a little balcony, every garden needs a designated seating area. Even if it's just a chair, so you can sit, rest, and observe. I come here to unwind and recharge. I come here to feel safe. I come here to think about life and marvel at the plants that I love. And I've actually put in a lot of work to make it a place where I can rest and be in awe of nature. I have my first morning coffee here. I have my meals here. I take breaks out here. I listen to music here. A lot of gardening channels have soothing piano music playing over the top of their gardening footage. That's not really what I'm listening to. I especially love being out here early in the morning. Morning is my favorite time of day because it's all about the solitude and the peace and the quiet and the new start. Back when I worked in theatre, nights were just filled with anxiety, over unfinished tasks. Mornings always felt like a fresh start. It'd be like, well, yesterday just felt so rotten, but this morning I can try again. Of course, as the day went on, the anxiety crept up again, and by the evenings, well, I'd just be crippled with fear. Clinical anxiety is it's an ugly cycle, friends. My advice to you is to get professional support. Anyway, I'm such a morning person that I haven't woken up with an alarm in forever. It's this weird thing that started happening during COVID, coincidentally when I became a plant person. So I don't know if that had something to do with it. Me and the sun would just get up at the same time. I'm going to chop off some of these blooms. This one, yeah, that one too. I need the energy to go here, not here. Oh, and there's a big onion weed here too. I should try to take that out now. It's just gonna get bigger. This is fluffing up nice though, the euphorbia white. Just need it to fill this gap a bit. The second thing is that my garden is an experimental workspace, especially these garden beds. It's a workspace in the sense that I'm using it to, one, figure out how plants grow. This is the first time I've been able to plant in the ground. It allows me to see how far a plant can kind of like stretch and flourish beyond the limits of a pot. These raised beds are sitting on top of soil, not concrete, so the roots can actually get pretty deep. I get to experience the quirks and needs of different kinds of plants. All of it's knowledge that I can carry into the future when I do have the forever home and garden. And two, I'm trying to experiment with what I want to do design-wise down the track. This garden, I wouldn't say that it's designed. Like A, I'm still learning, and B, like the results of the experiment aren't really the finished product. Do you know what I mean? If this were a client's garden, I'd probably be practicing a lot more restraint unless this kind of like crammed style is what they really wanted. Why does the onion weed have to be like right in the middle of the sedum? I personally like the crammed look of a cottage style garden, and I think I'm trying to work towards how that would look with cacti and succulents and native plants and perennials. Oh my God, I'm totally squishing another succulent to try and get this out. Whoops. Oh. Come on, come out. Oh! No dice. Oh, come on, it's got to be in there somewhere. Wow, I'm taking out all of these plants. Come on, the onion root has to be here somewhere. Are you kidding me? Where is it? How far do I have to dig? Oh, there it is, little Got it. Who knows if you can see that. Oh, good Lord. Wasn't even that big. Ow! Like, I'm pretty sure this was like a bit further down, like this. It was something like that, right? Speaking of plants being planted too closely together, this Chrysocephalum has gone to town again, and it's growing all over the sedum dragon and the agave tooth fairy. So I'm going to cut it back, and I have a vase full of water so I can take some fresh flowers inside. These are an Australian native. The flowers are actually called everlasting because they last forever. This mangave tooth fairy, did I say agave or mangave? It's a mangave. This mangave tooth fairy went in as a cutting a couple of weeks ago, and I'm curious to see if it's developed roots or not. Shall we check? I think it has. Oh, yeah. Can you see? I'm proud of you. Oh my God, is that a baby? Is that a baby already? That's a baby. What? Look, can you see it? That's a baby already. It's growing season for sure. I shouldn't do this too often because the spines are kind of like tearing up the sedum dragon, which is not good. So I forgot to press record. Awesome. Anyway, I think I cut off too much and it's not looking great. And I think I have to cut off some more. Like I've just chopped it in all the wrong places. Yeah, cool. I don't know what to do about this. Okay, maybe I shouldn't be cutting back. Oh my God, this looks so bad. I've done a terrible job. Oh, okay. Right, never mind. Oh my God. Well, I have to continue with this. There's no going back now. Oh my God, I've done way too much. I've just done way too much. Okay, I won't show you this. You don't need to see this right now. I'm just gonna let it grow back and then, yeah, we'll have a look. It probably doesn't look as bad as I think it does. There you go. I'm trying to accomplish kind of like the wild look. Nothing too super arranged. It'll grow. It'll grow. Oh my God. You know what? This is a bit like when you cut yourself a fringe and you just can't stop cutting it. Like, I'm finding all of these little bits that need to be snipped off and I can't stop. I can't. Okay, I'm gonna put the clippers away. All right. Okay, do you want to see? I don't know, maybe it's not as bad on camera, but it's pretty bad where I'm looking from. At least this has more room to grow now. And this has a little bit more breathing space. I'm just taking out more onion weed that I've found. Oh, this grew roots. Yes. I put this in as a cutting a number of weeks ago and we have roots. I'm taking it back out because there's onion weed everywhere. So we're currently renting and I get people in the comments asking me why I bother planting in the ground knowing that we're going to have to dig everything back up again when we move, or if we're even going to do that. Are we just going to cut our losses and leave everything? We're taking the plants with us. Like when we move, everything's coming with us. I think it's a fair question. Why bother planting in the ground if we're going to have to dig it all back up again? For me, it always comes back to wanting to grow things. I spent years nurturing plants in containers on a balcony, and now I want to see what they can do when they've got space to stretch their roots out, even if it's just temporary. That's huge. Honestly, my greatest satisfaction just comes from pulling these little out. They like have a real garlicky smell to them. Someone asked me if you can eat onion weed, and yes, you can. I pulled out a massive bulb and a whole bunch of tiny ones. It actually smells quite nice. I'm not gonna cook with them. It's not happening. Look, the impermanence of all of this doesn't make any of this less worthwhile or less valuable. And yeah, I've sunk a bit of money into getting new soil for the garden beds, but I've learned so much. I can't imagine spending this time not accumulating this knowledge. And everything's transient. Like, it's a really good reminder to find joy in the things that don't last forever. I mean, a cactus bloom, some of those only come out for one night. Doesn't mean they're not worth caring for. That's not a great example, but you know what I mean. These garden beds, honestly, they've become a space for learning. Right now, it's not about building something that'll last forever. It's just about exploring what's possible. I mean, here I get to experiment with different plants and different combinations, and I get to see what ideas work and what plants are thriving and what I'm failing at. I mean, of course, I'm not going to totally let loose. All behind us here in this courtyard are the majority of our plants, and they're still in pots. And all of these plants are getting a head start for when we do find our forever home. Some of these wouldn't have grown nearly as much if they stayed in pots. I've switched back to the long sleeve top because it's getting cold again. The next thing that I need to do is this. I don't know if you can see properly, but this Echeveria gibberflora, like, it's just expanded since the beginning of growing season. It's gotten so huge. I love a stalky succulent, I will always say, but it's gotten too top heavy and it's now resting on the raised bed. So I am gonna behead this. I'm gonna give it the chop and we're gonna have to find somewhere to put it. Now you have to understand that I have been resisting doing this ever since I got this plant. I've not wanted to behead it. I've wanted to keep it exactly as it is. As I said, I liked the stalkiness, but because I didn't want to give it the chop, it meant that I was never going to be able to propagate it. The thing about these gibberflora types is that you can't propagate them by leaf. You need to chop off the head of the plant and then babies will grow along the stalks. Anyway, you're going to witness me being a little bit brave and stepping outside of my comfort zone, and we're going to head chop both of these and put them somewhere. I don't even really know where. I mean, I kind of have an idea, but we're gonna make some decisions on the fly. Okay, this one here is actually impeding on this protea. The protea is like backed into its own little corner, so this is good. This will give the protea more room to grow. Not that I'm expecting any flowers. Oh no, there's some new ones. Cute. Okay, here we go. Whoa, this is too heavy for the stalk. This is good that we're doing this. Oh my Lord. Okay. Hi. This hurts my heart a little bit. Oh, and there's the spider. That might be the same spider from the last video. Wow, well there you go. My first frilly Echeveria head chop. This was the most brilliant coral pink in the winter. This one's winter colors are like, okay, that's one. Oh my God, these are so heavy. That's two. All right, I will be potting these up and hopefully we'll get some baby growth along the stalks here. We can only see. Okay, I think this is what I'm gonna do. Do you see? Oh, no. Okay. You see this? I might move this little bundle of cacti over here and I might put one of the gibberfloras over there. Yes. I don't know where the other one is gonna go. I don't. But that's what we're doing for now. Also, this isn't doing so well. Like, I don't know what's going on. Maybe I'll move this and keep the 2 echeverias there. All right, one thing at a time. I guess like the third and last thing about my garden is that it's a creative space. I remember that first week when I was no longer working in theatre, it was really difficult because for 2 decades, theatre was my whole identity and being an artist was my whole identity. And I was like, am I just not an artist anymore? But I'm still an artist and I'm finding ways to be creative and this garden is an example of that. I'm learning what colors and textures I like together. Designing is essentially painting with plants. And I'm also making a lot of mistakes, like a lot. According to design school, there's quite a few things that I can improve on. Not that design school is the gospel. It's been good at prompting me to think about why a certain look works for me or why something might feel a little bit off. I'm also learning that I don't really like formal gardens. I'm sorry if you have one. Like, I feel sorry for you. Jokes. You're not watching this channel if you have a formal garden. I don't know, I just kind of like the wildness of a cottage style garden or a naturalistic garden. I want to feel like I'm in nature. I don't want to feel like I'm controlling it. You know? Moment of truth. Oh, this might actually be a little bit too big for this spot. I'm gonna try the slightly smaller one. I don't know. I don't think this looks quite right. Like it's a bit too samey same to put these alongside each other. Like there's not enough difference. Well, that did not work like I thought it would. What am I going to do? Okay, well, I might as well put this cactus back. Just need to dig that up a little bit more now. Dirt everywhere. Ow! So for me, I like get into a real state of flow when I'm gardening. So flow being like the mental state where you become fully immersed in an activity to the point where you lose a sense of time and the external world just becomes like non-existent. And it can kind of only happen when there's this like sweet spot between how challenging the task is and where your skill level is at with that particular task. So it can't be something too easy that it's boring, but it can't be too challenging that it leads to burnout. Oh, they're pink galahs. Oh, cute. I also love that a garden's not a static work of art, like it's always changing. Like exactly what I'm doing with these echeveria right now. They grow, they don't fit in the spot that I put them in, they have to move. Actually, you know what? Do you remember these kalanchoe? These are the kalanchoes that I cut back on a number of weeks ago because they were too heavy with red flowers. Yeah, they're like dying now. They're on their way out. The red is now gone from the picture. This one too. Kalanchoes are late winter bloomers, I think. So, you know, I have like a fresh palette to play with for the summer. I just get such a kick out of those little changes. Like, look at this. I cut back on this New Zealand Christmas bush because it wasn't doing so well. And it's got new growth, new leaves at the top. Might not be a big deal to everyone else, but it's a big deal to me. Another really good recent example, let me just show you. This is a dahlia that I completely abandoned like 5 months ago, before winter. I really struggled to keep these happy because they're quite thirsty. So they died back and I kind of kept them to the side because I was intending to throw them out. And I only just saw this yesterday, but she came back. Look at her go. And yes, I realize that's how annuals work. But you have to remember that I'm not an annual gardener. When something dies, I'm like, well, that's done. I totally didn't replant this bulb. Like I was going to throw this out. She only gets water when it rains. I have not hand watered this. No sea salt, no fertilizer. She did this all on her own. I'm proud of her. I'm gonna leave her there though. She's only getting morning sun and she seems to be happy with that. What I think I'm gonna do is put one of the cabbage heads here and then decide later what to do with the other one. I'm not gonna let this callus over. I'm just not. Lazy. Lazy. And I want immediate satisfaction. I'll just level up this soil here. This stalk has gotten a little bendy, so what I'll do is I'll just take off the bottom leaves. I'm going to chop it up at the bottom. Oops, that was not a clean cut. Obviously, if you're in a more humid climate, please let this callus over. I'm not going to here. It's going to be fine. I know it is. And I'm just going to rest this on the soil here. Yeah. All right, it looks a little odd there. Let me show you. Actually, I'm going to take that out. I think it looks really weird there. Okay. So what you can actually do, I need a pot. Should have checked for spiders. You can actually sit these just like this. That way it'll allow the stem to callus over. You just leave it there to like air dry until it forms a callus. So keep this in the shade somewhere, like maybe up here. No, I should keep it on the ground. So you see how the stem is like really curved here? I'm gonna do the same thing where I'll take off the bottom leaves. Just enough so I can kind of cut it flush against the bottom of the plant. And then, there we go, like that. I set it on top there and I let it air dry. I'm gonna pot this up too, but I'll do it off camera because like, you know, this isn't very exciting. I think the reason why I'm so passionate about creating a space like this is because, like, as I said before, it's a space where I can kind of like safeguard things that are really important to me, my well-being and my creativity. I've poured a lot into making this space that does actually give back to me. Like, it's not just about what it looks like or what style, like it's almost irrelevant. It's all about kind of like how it makes you feel. And for me, time moves differently when I'm having a very tactile experience with nature. I don't want to get too fluffy about it because there's a very practical kind of like workhorse aspect to gardening, but it's also helped protect and nurture things that I value about myself. That, and it helps keep me connected to like this bigger sense of nature and the world in some kind of way. Anyway, it's getting dark. Thanks for spending the day with me. Hope you all have a good week. Do something to look after yourselves, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.